We're going to the cloud.
Right.
So, good afternoon, Claire. Oh, was it a start?
Hello, Doris. Do you know, that is quite weird because a lot of people call me Claire. I must look like Claire, but that's okay.
I think we've got a past life connection, Gail.
You know what? It's fine. I don't really care. I've been called a lot worse by a lot of horrible people. It'll be fine. How are you anyway, Dawn? Boris,
I'm very good, thank you. And I'm really pleased to see you today. And I think actually, in line with what's just happened, it just took us like 25 minutes to connect because, things have gone wrong, things have gone pear-shaped. And I think maybe this is a really good place to start our conversation on how people can start their healing journey rather than trying to fix something before we move on. Because I think, for me, I spent a lot of time thinking, if I do that, it will make this better. If I do that, it will make it better. But actually, I think the most important place to start is right where you're at, with all the mistakes, all the experiences, all the episodes that have happened, and go, this is where I'm at today. And this is okay.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's that business, isn't it? That you can't, these guru people that are all, we all aspire to be, or sometimes aspire to be. They all say, don't they, live in the moment. And you can't but do that, can you? We're both sat here. I'm in my kitchen, you're in your place. We are rooted at this moment. Whatever we now say will change and affect each other in some small or large way. Who knows? We don't know yet. But we can't anticipate that. I mean, we can overplan or overthink till the cows come home, but that just wastes our energy a bit. And I'm a terrible overthinker, I have to say, before we go any further, put my hand up, I'm an overthinker. And you waste a lot of your energy doing that, really.
Absolutely.
And also, when you look back at things, it's all very well looking back at it and saying, oh, well, I could have done this and I should have done that. But when you made that decision, like when we made our decision to have this conversation today and we had all that pear-shaped nonsense, we did what we did to make it work.
Yeah.
When we look back at it, we go, oh, yeah, I know, I should have pressed button B or whatever the heck it was that we should have pressed. But we only know that retrospectively, and it's too late. We didn't know it now to do it then. So we are all, whether we like it or not, whether we're some guru halfway up a mountain with a yellow orange robe and a funny hat on, we're all living in the moment to some extent. It's all that chaos clutter that's twiddling on in our heads that is about, I've got to fetch the children from school, or I haven't got the bank account sorted out, or, whatever it is, be it little or big, that clogs us up, isn't it? Because really we are living in the moment because we can't do anything else.
Yeah. But don't you think, Gail, I hear everything you're saying and I try to live that, but how many times in a day do we keep going, if only I'd have done that, or I could have done that, or he said that, or she said that, or if only I'd have said that. And I think that's where often a lot of this despondency and these feelings of inadequacy come in, because we're trying to change something that we cannot change.
It is a very wise person that can understand every comment, every conversation that someone else is having and respond appropriately. Because I say something to you, and when I say it with all the inference and back knowledge in my head, and I say it meaning what I think it means. When it lands in your ears, you interpret it with all of the yardstick that you've got to measure things by, and vice versa. And that's what gets us all bent out of shape, isn't it? Because you say, well, I distinctly told them this thing. Yeah, you did distinctly tell them that thing. But once it gone in their ears and twiffled round in their head, they'd interpreted what you said as something else. And that's how it is with life, isn't it? We can't get it. We're not talking, we only get the right answer when we're talking to ourselves because we know what we're talking about. When we're talking to someone else, we don't, do we? Because they're putting their spin on it, and we don't know what their spin is because thank God we're not in their head. It's bad enough being in your own head. You want to be somebody else's? No.
And I totally agree with you.
And it's really difficult. And sometimes I think when you've got yourself really in a knot, and I'm quite good at this, I just think, hold on. I can't know what they mean, what they think I mean. And if it's really important, I have been known to say, what do you think I mean by that? And it comes back and you think, I never said that. I didn't even infer that. But and that's how we struggle, isn't it? And we struggle inside ourselves because, you know, we've probably got somebody who we value the opinion of saying, well, if I were told that, I'd do this. And oh, so-and-so thinks I should react that way. And I don't want to offend thingamajig because they'll be hurt if I do this. And trying to please all of those people that probably, if they love us and care about us, just want us to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a minefield, and it all happens between our ears mostly.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's all in this little noggin, and most of it is just a construct that we've invented for ourselves. I mean, you think, you know, watch The Matrix and think, yeah, that's my head. That's what my head's doing. It's doing all that weirdness. What's real, what's not? I don't know.
Yeah. And I think, you know, a lot of what's going on in here isn't real anymore.
Oh gosh,
you know?
no.
And I remember in the past, because I was my son, I wouldn't say he had special needs, but he had an individual way of learning, should we put it that way? Okay. Because I didn't want to label him, and I made a point of not doing that. I didn't even really explain to him about, you know, what they'd said about the ADHD and sequential learning and all that. The guy explained it. My son looked at me as if to say, well, I hope you've got that, because I didn't know.
What?
But I actually treated him as if he was normal. Yeah. Okay. And everyone is normal, whatever their, you know, learning abilities
them,
are.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you're normal for Dawn, I'm normal for Gail.
Yeah.
You know, it's that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think, was it Deepak Chopra, or however you say that? Wasn't it him that said, it might be somebody else, but I think it was him, that said, we are not our thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, when you think, oh, we are not our thoughts, yeah, I get that. But then when you think about it, because God forbid I didn't, when you think about it, we are not our thoughts.
No.
And we're not somebody else's opinion either.
Yeah. Yeah. But what often happens, I think, Gail, I'm just writing that down, we often become a reaction to our thoughts or to what we think we've heard.
Yes. And we also think that to make our lives better, we should capitulate with those thoughts and turn ourselves into that thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're not true to yourself, or, you know, you can be whatever you like outwardly, but I think if you're not honest with yourself inwardly, you know, you don't have to fess up your innermost, darkest secrets and difficulties to anybody else. But I think if you don't kind of get a handle on it yourself, it can be it can be devastating on so many levels.
Yeah, it really can. And, you know, when we're putting these videos together, what we're hoping to do is appeal to and support people who've got children with learning difficulties, or they may themselves have learning difficulties. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. I think a great place to start is recognizing that exactly who you are today is exactly who you're meant to be.
And who you are today is the best you can be.
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
You know, and that business about, you know, you start a new day with a clean slate. And I think in some regards you do, you know, you don't kind of forget everything, but, you know, the things that you didn't do so well yesterday, have another go at them today and have another try at something else, or, you know, just do it again and see what happens, because so many other things in the world are going on that you can't have 2 days the same. You just cannot.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
It might rain and you've got no umbrella. You might love the rain. You might rain, you stay indoors. You know, just one facet of your day. You know, you get up and you've run out of tea bags, you have to have coffee. I don't know, something that tenuous can just change the spin of your day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, in either direction. And it's quite, theoretically, it should be easy, shouldn't it? It should be easy. We should be able to get up, chuck our clothes on in whatever fashion takes a fancy, and go out into the world and it be all right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is. We don't think about it, do we? We get on with our business, whatever that is, and it's all fine. But when it goes wonky and we're struggling, all of those things that we've jammed in the suitcase at the back of our heads come out like big ugly monsters and go, see, I told you were shit. And you're not shit. You're just having a crap day. It's that, isn't it? But you have to, I've gone through this quite a lot. And some days I'm having the little niggly naggly in the back of your head going, well, you're just rubbish, aren't you? Crap, aren't you? No, you're not. You're just having a difficult day.
Yeah.
But you have to be quite, determined in yourself that, no, I'm not going to let nagging Edna in the back of my head, or whoever it is you've given them a name of, tell me that I'm not doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can. It might be crap, but it's the best crap I can do today.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We don't let ourselves off the hook enough.
No, I think, and that's such a profound message. If we could just stop there for a moment. The best thing you can do for yourself, if you find yourself feeling a little bit despondent, you feel heavy in your head, in your spirits, it's just like a feeling that you're not coping as well as you want to. Stop and be gentle on yourself. Where you're at right now is okay.
Yeah.
And if you could actually just be honest with yourself and just, I've got some techniques we'll share in a moment, but, if you can just be honest with yourself and say, well, I'm here. This is where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And what's going on around me is impacting on me. Let's center myself. So, just gentle breathing exercise or walking out in nature and taking a big breath of fresh air in. Even imagine that you're outside and think of the trees and the birds and all the joyful things in life. Can actually
and that thing about giving yourself a safe space. I had quite a difficult time, quite an acrimonious divorce, and my at the time divorcing husband was very unpleasant, and he would come to my house and he would be full on in my face, shouty, hollery, wavy arms about, and quite unnecessary. I mean, obviously he was having his own difficulties, but I was kind of at the forefront of this, and I decided that I needed to do something about this, because obviously there were times when I had to have some kind of dialogue with him because I had a young son. So I would imagine myself, I imagined myself with this blue screen in front of me, this Eve Klein blue, so it's a really purpley blue, chalky screen in front of me, and I would be behind this blue screen, so I could see him, and I would kind of half block out what the shouting, and I would just look at him through this screen, and I thought, you can't get me through this screen. And it was a bit, at the time I thought, this is not quite how we should be doing this. I should be able to cope with this, but I couldn't. But when I imagined this chalky screen, I could cope with it. It gave me breathing space, and it meant that my breathing calmed down, and I could listen rationally. Because if I didn't have that, I couldn't listen rationally, because he would be poking all the sore spots that activated Edna in the back here, going, you're inadequate, you can't do this. And so it was like a defensive thing. It couldn't get through my kind of deflector shield, if you like. And it worked. It really did work. And it sounds a bit nuts probably, but it worked. And I think it doesn't matter what that is. Imagine yourself in a bubble, imagine yourself looking at a flat. It doesn't matter what it is. And you don't have to tell people what it is, but you need to have that thing.
Yeah. We all need what we call our safety net.
Absolutely.
And what we are talking about, we actually normally, because I work with angels and spirit, and I'd say Archangel Michael, come step between me and the situation. And coming away from, maybe some of what's going on in your head is based on, something that's going wrong around you.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And that's what we're coming to is, because obviously I want to keep these like short videos if we can, so we could carry this on another conversation, is first of all, be honest about what is going on in your life. What is impacting on you? What is making you feel like you do today?
Yeah.
And if you could take that out of your head and put it in writing in front of you, it might be a bit of a task at first. You will get an honesty test, which it's like a wake-up call. It's like, seriously? Wow, no wonder I'm not coping very well.
Or if you don't want to write it in a journal, my son's a bit dyslexic, so he doesn't like writing anything down really. He just gets his phone out and twiddles it round and just says it into his phone. Absolutely. And he says it, and he just says it. He just doesn't pull his punches. He doesn't mind his P's and Q's. He just spits out what is getting right up his nose. And then he puts the phone to one side. And then the next day, he listens to it and he thinks, and he said to me, Mum, 9 times out of 10, I look at that and I think, what the hell was up with you? You just needed to have a cup of coffee and show your tits, as he puts it. Just show your tits. And I go, because no, really, Mum, I just needed to chill out.
Can I have a feedback?
Bless you. 24-year-old sons are a bit like that, aren't they?
But I think it might be a good place to leave this for the moment, and we'll come back and have a chat a little bit later.
Okay.
Because I think, being honest with where you're at right now is a good place to start if you're finding it challenging to deal with your children, with your relationship, with your work life, with your money situation. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, do a list if you're a list
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Just format it in whatever way is the easiest and most attainable to you.
Yeah,
Draw a picture,
absolutely.
make a list, you know, speak to yourself on your phone, take yourself out in the garden and have a chunter, you know, whatever it is, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, there's no one right answer, is there really?
No, and there's no wrong way.
No, there isn't. There isn't any, you know, you just spit it out in the best way you can, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
be kind to ourselves. That's what we need to be.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this here, and then we'll have a little chat later, because I've said to Aisha, we'll keep it short because, you know, people don't have a lot of time.
No.
And we could chat all day, couldn't we? And I think, you know, talking something through actually is a great gift. It's a real good way of offloading. It's a way of releasing. It's a way of feeling better in yourself because you've been heard. So that validation really does make a difference. So I'm so grateful to you for listening today and for sharing with me.
Oh,
But what I'd like to do
I'm
is,
glad we got it sorted out in the end, this crazy Zoomy nonsense.
but without Zooming nonsense, we won't be able to communicate from the other side of the country, would we?
No,
so I am feeling grateful today. But what I'd love to do is finish here for a moment, and then we'll come back and have a little chat later. If that's okay with you?
That's cool. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recorder, and then we'll come back and have a chat in a moment. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, lovely.